What's up everyone, Sundown here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. BallaTW is going to do one of his patented VoD reviews as he breaks down the gameplay with Ghost Snood. So go ahead, get out your pens and pencils, it's time to learn up.
Hey, what's up guys? BallaTW here. I'm sitting down with Snood and we're going to go over one of his games from the FNCS. Snood, what's up man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, how are you?
I'm doing good. So, first off, landing pressure plant is something that I think is pretty interesting and difficult because it's changed a lot over the little while. How long have you guys been landing pressure plant?
Honestly, ever since Trio started, that's when we've started going there, and it's changed a lot, the meta there with the big robot and everything, so we've had to change our playstyle a lot.
And what are the main points of interest that you have when you're landing here? I'm seeing you're already farming the wood pallets, for example. Is there a couple points of contention that you're really interested in grabbing?
Yeah, so the main thing we need to focus on is the pallets to get mats, because you really don't have a lot of mats besides the pallets there, and in early game fights, there's a lot of openings to get shot in, so you need to have a lot of mats in this area.
And I notice also you're contested and being very safe with how you're rolling through. How do the fights normally proceed for you guys? Are you very comfortable fighting here in pressure plant? Are you always getting contested? What's the deal with early game at pressure plant?
So the reason we're always so cautious is because this is a place where there's a mountain surrounding you, so you can basically get ganked from anywhere, or just get hit from anywhere. So we usually get contested by 1 to 3 teams each game. We usually rarely have it uncontested, but yeah, so it's really hard fighting here. That's why we have to perfect our early game so much, because that's the most important part.
And are you worried at all about you know, them being able to get all these different angles on you when you're all farming down here by the actual little research facilities?
Yeah, we're always looking around, making sure. We always have, see, me and Cloud are here inside of the little turtle here, and then we have Thwyfo that usually goes around and tries to flank and try to see where they are. So we always have like an eye in the sky, basically.
Okay, so that's like a set thing that you and Cloud are down here and Thwyfo's out, you know, scouting and trying to get sneak attacks, huh?
Yep, basically.
Cool. So this fight is definitely going to be proceeding, but as we go along, I'll ask a little bit about some of the things that we're watching. I think I've already seen this game. I know this was a very important game for you guys. I want to talk for a second about the philosophy that you guys have and the game plan you have throughout the entire tournament. This was about the midway point. Are you guys playing the same the entire time in terms of, you know, the risks that you're taking, the opportunities for W key games and all that?
Yeah, I feel like we just have the same philosophy, but we've been changing it a little bit, and we're going for height a little bit less now, just because of how desired it is, I guess. There's a lot of people going for it. So we're playing a little bit more cautious, playing mid-ground now instead.
Okay, so there's no stages of the tournament that you guys change around. That's interesting because I think a lot of people are thinking about timing and how to do it, but you guys have been consistent throughout just by playing a single game plan. I think that's cool. So this fight going really slow, and you don't have zone. I'm going to quickly open the map just to show it for a second. And it's not that far. Retail's in the zone as well, and I know you guys are somewhat interested of sometimes going into retail and farming a little bit extra loot. Is this an issue for you guys that these fights take a long time, that you're boxing down here and turtling like this?
Usually it's we try to get the fights over quickly, or we try to get them to leave, so that's why we turtle up here. But if we are in this position and we're scuffed on loot, we usually just go to try to W key and stuff like that. Try to get the loot back. So we're not really too worried. As long as we survive, we know we can get to endgame.
That shot was really nice there when you were covering the back of, I think, Cloud. It seems that you're playing kind of the role of let other people go for shots, and while you make sure you cover their flanks. Is that something that you guys are actually thinking about, and you play that role, or?
It's kind of just like subconscious now, that they usually go for shots, and I just try to support them.
Yeah, because it's 3 times now I think you've gotten tags on somebody to the side when they're focused on one of Cloud or Thwyfo. They go for high ground here, and again, I think you're still down below and keeping track of one player and keeping him stuck here.
Yep. I think it was there was 2 people left, I'm pretty sure. So I just wanted to like single out the guy at the bottom and let them 2v1 the guy up top.
I think it works out for you. You almost even got another opportunity there. I like this style here. And now even leaving that guy and going to support Twyfo into his box. Cloud somewhere else. But I love the kind of slow pace that you guys are going. Storm is starting to move now. And your loot is definitely not... Ooh. Just barely go down there. Your loot is not the greatest. And I think right there was a perfect example of like the staying together like aspect of this whole fight. How you got to Twyfo there into the box made it so that when he fully committed to the fight, that guy who knocked you, you were able to take him out. That's something you guys are very good at. Talk to me about the comms in that moment when you get close to him, when he finally starts to commit to the fight. He's kind of, I think, deciding that, oh, we need to finish this, and there's one more guy now.
Yeah, so I knew that the reason I added him in there was because I knew that Twyfo was there, so I had a blue pump, so I knew I was going to do a lot of damage no matter what. So I basically just let him in, and I knew Twyfo would finish him off. But we always try to make our fights into box fights because that's our strong suit. So that's the reason we're turtling so much, and we always try to stay together because we know that if we're in a box fight, we most likely won't lose.
So far, so good. One more guy that you're finding. And you easily find out where this guy is. I love that you don't go for the shot there because he knows exactly that you're up there. And you wait for your team. And you're also 30 HP too, so. Smart player, Mr. Mr. Snood.
Yes, sir.
And the finish. Cool. And now the situation is, we talked a little bit about the zone position. You find a med kit, you're fine here, right?
Yep. And then now we would probably try to rotate into retail because we know we don't have the best loot ever, the best mobility. So we basically use retail because we know there's a lot of people that have that land pressure. So we try to go retail to replenish the loot and basically like counteract the long fights that we have at pressure.
So is this something you do every game, or is it loot dependent or fight dependent, or how the early game went basically?
We try to do it every game that we can. But if we don't have zone, then we'll just try to play with what we have.
Yeah. And so, specifically in finals, I think there's a lot of teams right now that are struggling with retail. There's been, I think everybody has started to kind of make their game plan either drop retail or find somewhere that you could rotate into retail. You guys have been doing this plan for a while now. Is it still working? Yeah. Have you seen any changes between, week 2 of FNCS versus now?
The only changes that I've seen is just seeing more teams in retail, I guess. Everybody's catching on, so we have to be careful. We usually don't try to fight any teams in retail. We try to get maybe 1 or 2 pillars and then dip out.
Okay, so it's just about the pillars, just about, getting back up on loot if you need to. And then the other issue, too, is materials are kind of hard to, come by, especially now that there's so many teams. You can't spend that much time farming, and as we can see, you only have 19 materials. Is this an issue for you guys, and how do you address it?
I guess it is a little bit issue, but we just farm on the way, and then we get our materials slowly back, so we usually don't have to worry about it that much.
Okay. I'm going to take another look at the zone really quickly here. Ending down towards actually the Mayhem zone area and Lucky Landing and such. We'll see if that is actually the way it goes. You already know I've briefly scanned this game a little bit. But now the rotating to retail is happening. You're probably going to find a couple pillars, just like you said, and then move forward. But Snood, you're somebody who I think a lot of people, you came on their radar early on in Summer Skirmish and Fall Skirmish, but during the World Cup, again, you came back on the radar because you were so close to qualifying so many times. And now you finally done a qualification here in FNCS. You still have to go through all the other stages, but in these open qualifier formats, has that been difficult to adapt to that style since you were so successful in the early stages of custom tournaments, the Summer Skirmish, the Fall Skirmish, and then all of a sudden the open qualifiers came and you were just always barely outside of that?
I guess it was a little frustrating being outside, just getting close every time, but I wasn't really too worried about it because I feel like customs create a bad habit for the open qualifiers, and you don't really want to push a lot of teams or WK a lot of teams in customs because they're all good players. Yeah. But in the open qualifiers, you never know who you're going to run into. So we have to kind of change our playstyle from customs to the open qualifiers. And I think just my playstyle in general was just good for the open qualifiers because I'm a pretty aggressive person. So.
Yeah.
I guess that's how I adapted to it.
We can definitely see based on all the performances. And now joining with the trio of Twyfo and Cloud. Cloud, obviously, I think he was playing with a couple different duos throughout World Cup, and you've always been playing with Twyfo. How is it adding a new player to the established duo of you and Twyfo?
Honestly, it wasn't bad. It was really good. Cloud, obviously, we know he's a good player, so we're not really worried about that. He won't be able to follow instructions or do whatever. I think we have really good chemistry from me and Twyfo, and we're friends with Cloud, so it just fits perfectly, I guess.
Yeah, and that's something that I think a lot of people are finding out. You obviously have swapped a couple of members in your trio. You were playing with Stretch, I believe. You were playing with, what was the other guy that you were playing with too? Who swapped with Booga and guys all the time back in the staking season right before FNCS. But now it's settled on Cloud. You guys are happy with this. This is going really well for you guys. So,
yeah, definitely.
But how do you guys build chemistry? How do you keep chemistry and stay engaged in these open qualifier formats, which sometimes can cause a lot of tension between people depending on how you're playing? What do you say to people who are like, how do you get such good chemistry?
I don't know. I feel like you just have to be friends with your trio. Like, honestly, it's just the closer your relationship is with them, the more chemistry you have, the more you trust each other, and like the more you're forgiving, I guess. So there's not really that much tension there when we're playing.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. It's just be friends.
Yeah, gotta be friends.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so getting back into the game a little bit. Rotating in third zone, rotating in mid game in general is something that probably a lot of people struggle with in terms of fight selection. You just got shot there, but none of you guys had any inkling that you wanted to fight that. You guys knew you were focused on positioning. How do you balance, going for W keys or getting shot or stopping people from pushing you versus going for positioning?
So we always prioritize positioning over everything else, no matter what. Because if you have good positioning, the kills and the stuff will come. So even if a team's trying to W key us, we do our best to get away unless we absolutely have to fight. But we usually go for the W keys late game, and we try to take walls and then get our loot late game.
Okay.
Or at least later in the game. Mid game, we find that if you W key, you're dead.
So is there any situation where you go for eliminations like a lot of other players do in this kind of phase in the game? Say you ran out of mats completely here. Is there any situations like that which would call for you guys to play a little bit more aggressively, or is it all passive all the way through until end game?
I guess if we get a knock, usually Twyfo carries the sniper and he's really good with it. So if we get a knock, we'll definitely push over, or if we tag someone really hard. But that's about it. We'll never push a trio that we haven't tagged at all or anything like that, because we still have jump pads and stuff. So we just want to use all of our mobility before we even think about W king.
Cool. So I think that's something that a lot of players are going to be interested to hear at all, is just play for endgame over anything. Yep. Play for positioning over anything until you really have no choice but to do it. Use all your mobility and get in zone. Okay. Now talk to me about the position that you did go for right here on the edge of zone. This is third zone. You're not quite center, but at the same time, you have to, again, balance whether you're fighting or getting shot at or spending your resources versus a center or more centered zone.
Yeah, so normally what we try to do is we try to go more center, but considering our mats right now, it isn't the best. We don't really want to spend a lot of mats or HP going for center zone. And since we have a jump pad, we like to chill edge right now and then get the next zone, try to get center next zone.
Okay, so it's a conscious decision based on how much mats you're willing to spend, and in this case you don't have much. I know Cloud and Twyfo at this point in the game probably have around 100 builds left. Yeah. Is there a reason why Edge is more cheap?
Yeah, I'd say because if we try to go center, we'll have a lot of teams shooting at us, so we'll expend more HP and mats, and there's no real reason to expend those mats when we have movement this early in the game.
Do you find that you actually get a chance to recover materials on the side of zone as well? Because I've seen a lot, like people like Mr. Savage who love to play edge zone no matter what. end up in a shambles situation with no materials, but they farm back up on the way through, and they actually end up not fighting anybody, which is kind of not exactly what you would think would happen.
Yeah, so sometimes you just find a lot of like trees and stuff on the edge of the map that you can farm up, so it's really good. It's just safer to be on the edge if you're not, if you don't have the best loot or anything.
Cool. All right, one thing I see in your inventory that I think we have to talk about, since it was just recently added in the game, was the shield bubble. I'm curious, you're already carrying 2, there we can see them pop off in the background over there. How do you want to use these to make your rotates? I'm not sure if Cloud had others as well, but this is a really smart way to use them, is just to continue rotating through, and then you barely get in and base up.
Honestly, we always carry shield bubbles no matter what. They're such a versatile item, especially for rotating. If you're getting focused, it saves a lot of mats. So I usually just save them, and if we're running out of mats like this, we'll use them to rotate. Or I'm sure you've seen that you can stick it to like bushes and hoverboards, and you basically get free rotates across the map. Yeah. It's also really good for if you're getting sprayed at, you just save all your mats, and we don't really have to spend the little mats that we have trying to rebuild our walls.
So there you have it, guys. Carry the shield bubbles. They are very, very good. So do you carry it over everything? What is your ideal utility here? Is shockwaves still the ideal mobility, or are you dropping shockwaves for the shield bubble?
Definitely still keep shockwaves, but we always make sure that we have the shield bubble. If it's on the ground, then we'll pick it up no matter what. Okay. We'll drop either like an extra SMG, even like a big pod or something sometimes, because you'll save a big pod just by using it. Interesting.
So there's an aspect of trios helping here, where you can carry a bunch of stuff over all 3 of you, so you could share the loadouts. Very interesting. And now I also noticed the power weapons back before. You said Thwifo always carries a sniper, and I saw Cloud had an RPG. Are you guys? Is that also a set item that Cloud always is going to be the guy carrying, or?
So usually Thwifo carries the sniper, and Cloud carries the RPG.
Okay, cool. And is that for any specific reason that you don't like, or that Cloud carries the RPG? Is he just better? Is he good at it?
Yeah, I just don't want to blow myself up.
Okay. Hey man, I'm the same way. I don't know how many times I've shot myself out off fight. Oh boy. Okay, so looking for the next zone right here. It's half in, half out, 5th zone, and you guys are definitely going to be launching here, I'd guess.
Yeah. It's a really far zone, so yeah, probably launch it.
So it's based on the distance that you're making that decision, right?
Yep, and also with the mountains around too. If we're going down a hill, we probably wouldn't launch pad. Yeah. We'd probably shockwave because we'll go farther, and if we jump pad down, we won't be able to dive. But it's just all dependent on the terrain and the length, I guess.
Plus the aspect of staying all together, which is something that I think was definitely undervalued at the beginning of trios, but people are starting to learn exactly how to rotate together. And this is what you're talking about. So the end game has started for you guys, and you want to go for high eliminations as best you can.
Exactly, yeah. We like to exploit the new wall taking, so that we can take anybody's walls now. So we usually just try to wall replace late game and get our loot back, and that's exactly what we did.
Okay, do you have a dedicated wall replacer?
Usually Cloud will hold the wall, and then we'll break. But I think with the new... Since like a coin flip, I guess, is what they said, or it's random with the wall taking. Yeah. We'll have 2 people hold and 1 break this time, so we have like I guess a 1/3 or 2/3 chance.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, there's a good use. So you netted yourself 2 eliminations already through that wall taking method, especially because the team that was fighting you was ill positioned. There was one guy in front of the stairs, one guy behind it. And then as soon as that minigun comes out, you build a little bit and shield bubble. I think that's something that people are starting to realize is this is exactly the perfect use for it. You are completely safe from any of that spam, that a lot of people struggle with is, oh, when I get endgame, I just get spammed by the entire server. In this case, it could have happened, but the shield bubble immediately stops that. Okay, so I notice you're being pretty slow with how you're approaching fights here. You're really focused on rotating, and you're going to use a short launch to get down far, just watching your HP because that's a very scary situation. They're gliding and getting shot at. But we said that this is the moment that you are going for a lot of eliminations. And again, we've seen that you're a little bit more cautious and slow in terms of making sure that your teammates are near you and you're supporting your teammates, making sure they're covered and so on. But how do you flip the switch? So far it's been rotation that you guys are focused on, and you haven't really gone for tons of eliminations. Obviously we're watching Thwifo right there peek through windows. We saw you go for a window peek. But yeah, when is that switch and how do you find these opportunities?
So usually we'll try to get eliminations if we just see like a perfect wall replacing moment, I guess. But like I said, rotation is definitely the #1 priority, so we don't really force eliminations unless we can get them. I feel like we just use our mobility, and then we don't really force any eliminations, yeah. Got it.
So basically only things that are guaranteed. Oh no, Cloud just got edited down. And Thwifo's right in there behind you guys. Both of you guys went down through the edit, but Thwifo just gets right in, and that's really good for him. Everybody of you guys were shooting them. That was probably a mistake by the other team not to be all there together. Okay, now it's just you and Thwifo and the old duo. There's 15 guys left. You're holding, and I think this. Ooh. Okay, so that was a perfect play. Do you guys get high ground off of this? High ground and probably the win from here. And I noticed that as soon as the shockwave came out, you boxed up right above you so you don't get any tags. Okay, from here on out, you guys have been in this situation so many times. Just walk me through what you guys are thinking.
So right now we have the high ground, and this is basically when, like you said, we flip on the switch. This is when we go for all of our eliminations, basically.
As soon as you get high ground.
We're high ground. Yep, because now we don't really have to worry about anything else. So we just spray down and just try to take all the eliminations from the other people.
Thwifo's all the way down on low ground. He actually got one already. And then you launch down to regroup with him because he's maybe under too much pressure. There's too many people here.
Yep, I also don't want to waste a lot of mats getting down just in case I had to go up the hill.
Okay, and now it's just one guy remaining. It should be pretty easy pickings for you. And there you have it. The win for you guys. It's 9 elims total, 2 for you, 6 for Thwifo. And that was an awesome game. Snood, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and go over that game. That was awesome. You gave us a lot of insight. So thank you so much, man. And congratulations on the qualification.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we'll see you in the next stage, and we'll also see you in the coming qualifier weeks. Guys, this was BallaTW, and that was Snood with me. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much to Balla and Snood for taking time to break down some of the high-level FNCS gameplay. My name's Sundown, and thank you guys for taking the time, and best of luck in the rest of your matches in weeks 4 and 5 of the FNCS.